Today I'm going to be showing you guys 10 tips and tricks, all involving a tape measure to be able to make you measure things easier and quicker, or be able to get more accurate measurements. Tip number 1. When you're trying to get a measurement in a tight space, such as in between a door frame, instead of butting your tape into one side of the door frame and bending your tape on the other side to try to get that measurement, what you can do instead is butt your tape in on one side, mark an easy measurement, and then what you can do is butt your tape into the other side of the door frame, measure to that measurement, and then add them together to get a spot on measurement. Tip number 2. Another tip to measure in between a tight space is, instead of adding two measurements together, what you can do is actually measure the size and the thickness of your actual tape. For example, this Stanley 8mm tape is exactly 78mm. So what I can do is I can butt my tape into one side, butt the back of the tape into the other side, and know that that's an extra 78mm from that last measurement I can see on the tape. Add those together and you'll get the exact same measurement. Tip number 3. When you're trying to divide a board into thirds or quarters and you want each part to be exactly the same, a quicker and easier way to do it, instead of getting your measurement, having a complex number and having to get your calculator out, divided by 3, divided by 4, what you can do instead, round up to the easiest whole number. For example, if you're playing with 288mm, round up to 300mm, and then bend your tape on an angle until you've got 300mm across, and then you can just mark your points at 100 and 200 for thirds, or 150 for centers, and that's going to be dead accurate measurements. Tip number 4. With these Stanley tapes, on the hook of your tape, you've got yourself a little slot in the middle there. And that is awesome if you want to get a diameter measurement. What you can do is nail a nail into the middle of where your circle is going to be. Don't hit it all the way home, and then you can slot the top of the nail's head into that slot. Now with that, you can get your measurement of how big your circle wants to be, hold your pencil to that mark, and slowly and accurately go around in the circle, and you'll get yourself a perfect circle. Tip number 5. If you want to quickly find the center point of a board and it doesn't need to be millimeter perfect, a quick and easy way to do it is measure how wide the board is in total, and then get your measurement and bend that measurement back to the hook of the tape, and right in the middle where the bend is going to be the exact middle point. So you can mark that and you found yourself your center. Tip number 6. If you look at the end of your tape and you notice that the hook on the end of your tape may wiggle back and forth a little bit, don't worry, your tape isn't broken. In fact, it is actually working as intended. If you look at that bit of the tape, it's almost half a millimeter thick, which obviously means if it didn't move, if you're butting in to a measurement, it will be half a millimeter different if you're hooking into a measurement. And that's why that tape measure has that wiggle. So when you're butting into a measurement, it pushes up hard and it adds that half of a millimeter to the measurement. But when you're hooking over something, it wiggles away from the tape the other way, and you reduce that half of a millimeter to make sure your measurement is perfect either way. Tip number 7. If you're trying to get a really precise, really neat measurement, I'd recommend not starting with the end hook of the tape. Firstly, it does have that little bit of wiggle, so you could have it pushed the wrong way if you're not butting in or hooking over a surface. And then also, as that hook lifts up off the ground, you're going to have a little bit of a slope coming down to your work, which could always add a mil to your measurement. What I normally do for small, precise measurements is I'd start my mark at 100mm, get the measurement and deduct 100mm off the end, and just use the flat side bit of the tape for a perfect measurement. Tip number 8. If you're doing a mark out or if you're holding the tape for someone else, I'd always recommend don't hold it right at the end of the tape, because you can always bend it there and have a little slope on your hook, which will change the measurement slightly. If you're holding the tape for someone else, I'd always recommend grabbing it about 100 to 200mm away and holding it precisely on the line there, but that way you're not bending the end of the tape up or down accidentally. Tip number 9. You can use the face of your tape to write measurements down, especially for these Stanley tapes with the bright yellow. You can write with a pencil, push down maybe a little bit hard, and you can actually write on that surface. And as soon as you're done with that measurement, wipe your finger over once or twice, that pencil mark's gone, and you can continuously use it as a portable little notepad to write down a few measurements when you're running back and forth. And lastly, tip number 10. The hook at the end of your tape can actually be used as a scribe on surfaces. If you want to scribe 200mm, you grab your 200mm on the mark that you want to do it at, and you run your 200 down that mark while pushing into the hook against your surface, and you can get a little nice scribe along there. It's a good way to quickly get a measurement and you don't even need to whip your pencil out. There you have it, there's 10 of my favourite tips and tricks that I use with a tape measure. If you guys enjoyed any of these, comment down below, tell me which ones you liked. And if you guys know any more tips and tricks that I did not cover in this video, please comment them down below too, because I'd love to know what tips and tricks you guys use as well. Thank you for watching this video. If you did find it helpful, please hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Muchly appreciated. Thank you.